Hi, welcome to our channel. So today we are talking about a very famous programming language, and that is Python. And with the help of this course, you can learn about programming itself if you don't know anything about programming. For this course is basically for people who want to learn programming, and that too using Python. So what this course will cover, the introduction of the Python itself, then how you can install this Python on a Windows machine. Yeah, it is a programming language that is supported by multiple platforms like Linux and Mac OS, but we are talking especially for Windows. And then we'll be using Python official IDE, integrated development environment, for the tutorial. But you can also use other text editors as well, like or online, like Kaggle, like text editors like Sublime Text, VS Code, or PyCharm. You can use any of those, but still we'll be using Python's official IDE. And we will write our very first application in Python, and then slowly in other tutorial videos, then we'll be learning more about Python, like data structures, looping, conditional statements, and so on and so forth. And basics of programming. So in this course, you will learn about the basics of programming, very basics. So you will understand, learn, and implement the core concept of programming. And we'll also teach you how to use alternative IDEs or text editors, like as I mentioned earlier, like Sublime Text, VS Code, and PyCharm. And then we'll also cover some intermediate level topics such as data structures, file handling, error handling, database management, debugging, using some IDEs like PyCharm. Okay, now brief introduction of Python. What really is Python? Why people are talking so much about Python recently, especially in these 2-3 years? Why they are talking so much about it? Because Python is very easy language, especially for beginners. Number one reason is it's not a new language, right? It's been here for more than 20 years or so, but maybe even 30. I have to check that. But what makes it really popular is that it's very easy to learn, and data scientists are using R and Python extensively, especially because it's easier to use. They don't want to learn tough or very hard to learn programming languages like Java, C#, C++, and then they want to use that for their algorithm designs, right? They just want to simplify their process of learning the programming language. That's why they are going for Python. So because of those data scientists, Python is gaining popularity. And not only that, Python can help you in developing any kind of application. Let's say if you want to be a web developer, you can use Python. If you want to be a mobile developer, you can use Python. If you want to be a desktop application developer, you can still use Python. If you want to be a system programmer, you can still use Python. If you want to go for data science or AI, artificial intelligence, you can still use Python. So see, you can now see the benefits of using Python. It's so simple, yet it's everywhere. As I've mentioned earlier, it is a multi-platform and interpreted language. So what is multi-platform? Multi-platform means platforms like Linux, Mac, Windows, and you can use Python in any of these languages. Once you write in one, then you can use it in other languages as well, other platforms as well. And what is interpreted? Some programming languages are compiled into native code, whereas some are interpreted. Programming languages like JavaScript, PHP, Python, these are all interpreted languages, meaning that they are not converted into machine code. Rather, every time they get executed, they are interpreted by either the browser or an interpreter. Like when, in case of Python, it's an interpreter. Python has an interpreter that interprets the code every time it gets executed. But in case of compiled languages like C++, Delphi, Java, C#. These languages are converted into another form, either machine code or some intermediate language code before the compiler executes the code itself. So compiled codes are much more faster than interpreted languages. Okay, now next. So as I've told you earlier, you can use it for any purpose you want: web development, desktop development, mobile application development, data science, machine learning, whatever you want. So Python is that. Now we'll be using latest version of Python, which is Python 3.9 for the use of this course. And next we'll learn how to install Python in Windows machine. Okay, here we are now in this website called python.org. From here you can browse for documentation if you want some help, or you can just go and download the Python 3.9. So this is for Windows. So let's click this one and it will download the file. And here comes the Python installer. So it's pretty much straightforward, so you don't have to worry too much about it. Just click this one, add Python 3.9 to your path if you want to use it from the command line or the console. All right, just click on this one, and then you don't have to do the customized installation. Just use the default ones. Install now. Okay, click. So installing Python is pretty straightforward, and it also offers you IDE that is called idle, which is very simple kind of text editor or integrated development environment. So it will be installed by default when you install Python. All right, so you can use it straight away. Okay, now close it. Okay, let's get started. This one is the idle, this one is the interpreter. You can click on this one. You can also choose the manuals if you want to see some, read some help. Okay, here it is the tutorials. If you want to refer to the tutorials, you can go and click whatever you want, like from the start. You can read here and you can use those ones, but I'll start with the idle. Here you are. See, so it is pretty straightforward IDE. And if you want to, let's say, code something, okay, let's say 5 plus 10, you can straight away get the answer. So it's more interactive interface. Or let's say 6 into 8, how much? 48. So you can do some calculations as well. But if you really want to print on the screen, which also works in real application programming, then you have to use this print. Let's say hello world. See, but if you want to code and save it for future use, then what you have to do is click on file and use the new file. So here you have to write the code and execute it after that. Let's say this is my first application in Python, right? Then I'll say print 5 into 10, and we can run it, right? But you have to save it first. Okay, save it somewhere, maybe in downloads or somewhere. Okay, test. And it will save it in the .py extension. Okay, save it, right? Then you can run the model. See, this is my first application in Python, and then 50. So you can do that again. You can open the model, or from recent, you can open it, and you can change whatever you have written here. And then let's say, okay, 7 into 10, 20, whatever. Okay, run it. Save it and run it. So again, you can do that, but you still can try in the interactive mode, whatever you want to try. Let's say I'll use a variable. I'll talk about variable later on, but for now we'll just use this variable. Let's say x equals to 40 and then y equals to, let's say, 15, right? So I want a multiplication of that x and y, which is How much? 600. I can do that in another way too. Print X and Y. So this style X and Y only is only for interactive mode, but if you want to code later on, you have to use this print X and Y. Okay, this is the simple form of Python, how we can use the Python ID for the development or to understand the code. So in our next video, we'll be talking about the basic commands used in Python, and then we'll be also talking about the variables. So till then, we'll say goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and share our videos, and please give us feedback on how we are doing it. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Bye.